Guys, I'm a little bit concerned, I have to say, about this 6.1.0 update coming to Dead by Daylight mid-July. We've been on the public test build. I've looked at all the different perks and numbers for things, and I think it's incredible the amount of changes behavior put into one update. I mean, it finally seems like the developers are listening to the community and trying to address some of the key concerns that the community have had on both Survivor and Killer for a very long time. And I have to say, I'm impressed. I genuinely am. But that's not to say that all of the changes are perfect. And so here are my PTB criticisms. I'll try and explain all my justifications, and hopefully you can see where I'm coming from. So let's start off with the prestige changes, because this one's slightly controversial, right? I think that this is an incredible change for killers specifically, right? Every killer in the game has a unique set of powers. And so you kind of want to have all of the perks unlocked on every killer so that you can play any killer whenever you want, with any build whenever you want, right? And so the new prestige changes 100% for killers cut down the grind by a whopping 75%, because you get that killer to P3, their unique teachables are unlocked on everyone at level 3, and that means that whenever a new killer comes out, they have every perk unlocked on them immediately, and all you have to do is get that killer to P3 to get all their perks unlocked on everyone else. That's a huge grind reduction for killers, but most survivors don't play Dead by Daylight that way. They pick a survivor that resonates with them the most, and they main that survivor. For me, it's Feng. And so what you usually do is on every other survivor, you level them up to 40, so you can get all 3 unique teachable perks, and then go back to your main and put the blood points in to find the perks on the blood web and level those perks up to 3. And now survivors will have to P3 all of their survivors to get all of the perks unlocked quickly. And I think that's somewhat inefficient for the majority of survivors with the way that they play. And you can argue the same for killer mains who just main one killer. It's also the same deal. But I do think with killers, it's slightly a different story. So that's an issue I can see. And I guess that's a choice that's no longer available. And I can understand why people are upset with the prestige changes. Not to mention, the legacy P3 rewards, they just suck. I'm sorry, whoever put work into them, whoever came up with the idea, it's a cute concept, don't get me wrong, but it just, the execution, it looks like Plague vomited on them. And I can't show this off to anyone unless I stream or I'm a YouTuber. Like, how am I meant to show off that I grinded, put 6,000 hours into this game to P3 everyone? It doesn't seem like it's an acceptable reward. I don't know what they do, but this just, it's not it for me. And I'm sorry. Shrines no longer be used for BP because of the upscale in shards. When the perk is not unlocked on any character, it costs 2,000 shards to unlock it at level 1 onto every character. You can then spend 4,000 shards to unlock it at level 2 on every character. 6,000 shards to unlock it on level 3 on every character. And then once you've done that, when level 3 of that perk is unlocked on every character, it costs 15,000 shards in the shrine. And guess how many blood points you're getting? 100,000 across the board for 2,000, 4,000, and 6,000, as well as 15,000. I mean, the upscale should be at least 750,000 or 15,000 shards. But who's going to spend 15,000 on shards when they could save up for... That's like 1.5 characters. It's a lot, right? I really love the Borrowed Time base kit. It's such a good quality of life change. It punishes killers for tunneling a little more. It provides the survivors with safety due to the movement speed, haste that they get as well. But it doesn't really solve the issue of camping, which is a much greater issue for me. I mean, right now on the PTB, a Leatherface can camp up to 2 survivors with just the perk Deadlock, and due to the new upgraded 90-second generators, these 2 survivors will die due to the face camp before the 5th generator is completed, which then means with NOED and other perks, that bubba can go out and attempt to get a 4K purely because they face camped someone for 120 seconds each time. That's crazy that one perk allows a bubba to do that. And I don't know how you solve camping. I don't have the solution. It's just something that really concerns me. Dead Hard, I honestly think this is a really good rework. Despite the video I uploaded the other day where I showed Dead Hard and Off the Record being, used to take hits upon hits, if you watch my next video, the one where I play Wraith, you'll see that for killers that are basic attack chasers, Dead Hard is super ineffective because you just wait out and then you hit. It's really only killers that are high pressure chasers that Dead Hard works against now. People who are forced to use their attack in a short period of time. Someone like a nurse or a blight or a huntress. Someone like a hag or a spirit or a pyramid. Someone like an artist. These killers that are really hard to loop against, because they can catch you off in places that you just can't do anything about. That's where Dead Hard's useful against. And the fact that it's now no longer useful against someone like a Wraith or a Trapper, that's fantastic. That's a really good rework. I genuinely am very impressed with it. Now, off the record seems a little bit problematic. I think it needs a severe nerf from the PTB's perspective. You know, right now, 80 seconds of endurance off a hook, you get 100% grunt reduction, so that's like a better Iron Will. Iron Will is now dead. Off the record, so much better. And of course, the aura reading removed as well. That's pretty useful. But it seems to me like off the record is designed to be a stealth perk because of the 100% grunt repains reduction as well as the aura reading removed. But you know that survivors, once they're healed, or even if they don't heal, are just going to run and take hits with the 80 seconds of endurance. So either it needs less time, it needs no endurance stack, or status, or endurance status effects should not stack. And what I mean by that is right now you can take a hit with Septic Agent first, then Off the Record, then Metal of Man, and then if you have Dead Hard as well, that's 4 hits a survivor who's injured can take. 5 hits if they're healthy, 6 hits if they go down. That's problematic, I think, and something that needs to be addressed. Botany Knowledge has crazy fast heals now. And I assume that the perk was designed to de-incentivize tunneling because you can just heal your teammates so quickly with Botany Knowledge. But does it really do that? I'm not sure. I get why behavior have increased healing speeds because, well, we'll get to the killer changes in just a little bit. Self-care, though. Was this nerf really just designed to disencourage people from using self-care? Because you've been buffed healing with Botany Knowledge, right? So I can only assume that they've nerfed self-care to the ground so that people think about bringing medkits now or think about bringing Botany Knowledge. Can we just rework self-care then? Because it's so useless if you're just going to nerf it into the ground. It needs to have a new effect on it. Spine Chill's now a dead perk with the Vault Speed removed, which is actually, in my opinion, a good thing because I thought the perk was overtuned. It countered stealth killers directly. It made it so that survivors were more safe due to the Vault Speed. That's why people used it. Now the Vault Speed's removed. Now the killer has to have line of sight on you so that you actually get the warning, which does mean stealth killers still can be countered. But in theory, if the killer has line of sight on you, then you also have line of sight on them. So you should be seeing them. For the people who are hard of hearing that use self-care as a tool so you knew when the killer was approaching you, behavior, adding a visual indicator to Spine Chill where the perk will light up different gradients based on how strong the terror radius is. So hopefully that helps, but they do understand that perks are not designed to be accessibility options. So they are working on a long-term solution for hard of hearing communities. So just so you know, that is coming in the next update. Decisive Strike nerf is really big. And I'm not sure if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but it's now a 3-second stun, and killers like Nurse, Clown, Freddy, Blight, Huntress, Artist, Demo, Spirit, Plague, Slinger, Pyramid Head, all of them can catch a survivor immediately after the DS stun has finished. That's a 3-second stun into an immediate down if you have line of sight and you use your ability correctly. Is that a good thing, a bad thing? I'm not sure just yet, just due to the fact that Off the Record is in the game. So people are just going to switch Decisive Strike out for Off the Record if that doesn't receive a change. Let's get on to the killer changes real quick. They added 10 seconds to generators, which I think is a healthy change. However, they then have them buffed a bunch of perks that add regression and action speed reduction to the generators without nerfing perks that already did the same thing. So Thanatophobia, for example, is now a 22% action speed debuff at 4 stacks, which means a Legion is going to stack that up really quickly, which might be okay because of the healing speed increases, Botany Knowledge coming into a play, but it just feels like it's going to create a really boring meta. Here's some numbers for you. Thanatophobia at 22% makes a generator take 115 seconds. Pentimento, which is 30% at 1 stack, now makes a generator take 128.5 seconds. And if Thanatophobia and Pentimento stack on top of each other in an additive format, then that means one generator done by one person now takes 187.5 seconds. That is ridiculously long. Not to mention, you guys decided to buff Gift of Pain to be a 16% debuff, which makes the generator 109 seconds. Monstrous Shrine now works on basement hooks, which means that you can bring Pain Res as well to add a 15% debuff on top of that. Overcharge is so problematic. It goes from 100% up to, is it 300% or 400%? Which means that if you stack it with Call of Brine, that is 500% generator regression after 30 seconds. which means that it takes 60 seconds with Call of Brine and Overcharge to fully regress one generator. It goes a generator that's not completed, which means it's under 90 charges, which means the survivors worked on it for under 90 seconds, is fully regressed after 60 seconds with just those 2 perks if a survivor doesn't touch it. Eruption is now a 10% regression, plus a 25 seconds incapacitated, which means for 25 seconds, the survivor can't work on the generator that is currently regressing, so it works out to be a big 30-ish, 37-ish% gen reduction because that one survivor can't work on the generators. I'm not sure how I feel about the Bloodlust changes. It's now 5 seconds faster at Bloodlust 2, 10 seconds faster at Bloodlust 3. Is this a healthy change? Because for me, if you're reaching Bloodlust level 3, that is because you're being stubborn as killer, not because you're being skillful, and you are punishing a survivor for a killer's stubbornness. I don't mind Bloodlust 2 that much. You know, I think that it's the healthy ground between the two, but I'm not sure about Bloodlust 3. Let's talk about the whole W meta. One thing that I've really been annoyed by for quite some time. A survivor can hold W after taking a hit, and they get so much distance on you. Well, thanks to the 10% action speed decrease to basic attacks, you recover 10% faster, like you have 2 stacks of Save the Best for Last base kit, as well as the 0.2 seconds reduction to on-hit duration. Now, holding W is 4 seconds less effective. So that seems like a healthy change and one that I'm happy about. All in all, the way I see this patch going is that killers will now be able to stack gen regression perks even more than they were able to before because of the 90 seconds added to the generator. And with perks like Thanatophobia, Gift of Pain, Overcharge, Eruption, Pentimento, and then you can stack perks like Jolt on the top of it, which got a buff. The generator is going to take forever in solo queue. And it's not because the killer did anything special, really. Kicking a generator isn't necessarily worth 60 seconds worth of regression to kill a generator, in my opinion. And in solo queue, where survivors struggle to organize themselves because they don't have information, then this is going to be super problematic for the game. And so yes, survivors have some ridiculous endurance status effects that they can abuse 100%. And a killer that's maybe just swinging is going to hate life after this. But also, any solo survivor dealing with a 90-second generator on top of Thanatophobia, Pentimento, Gift of Pain, Overcharge, Eruption, Jolt, and then if you add stuff like Dragon's Grip into the mix, so that when the survivor taps the gen, they're now exposed, which then can potentially give you even more gen regression through other perks. Ah, dear. It seems like there's a lot of unhealthy aspects to this update, and I just wanted to make this video so that my thoughts were out there, so if anyone listens to them, they can understand my concerns for the 6.1.0 update. Just a reminder, I think this update is an incredible step forward for Dead by Daylight, and I'm really proud to be part of the Dead by Daylight community because I for once feel like Behavior are trying really hard to shift the meta. I think we need some number changes though. Let me know if you agree. And if you want to see gameplay of Dead Hard against a Wraith with some of these regression perks stacked, then click that one there. And if you want to see Dead Hard and Off the Record being abused, click that one there.